Yes, guys, what's going on? I just wanted to jump on and wanted to shoot a video to show you how I went from being a man who was lost, who was anxious, who was living my life for everybody else and not being myself. And, how this affected, my relationships, created pain, me not showing up as the man I wanted to be, who was lost and purposeless and indulging in really unhealthy vices, to being a man on a mission to help other men to rise, to live with complete purpose, confidence, and self belief. And I'm going to show you exactly how I made this happen and how this can work for you immediately just by watching this video. So let's get into it, man. So, like many men, I had a tough childhood. I had to overcome some serious adversities at a very early age in my life. Like many of us, grew up in a home with a father who was, pretty much not showing up in the way that I needed him to be as a strong male role model. And this left my mum as the sole provider. And, this, as you can imagine, for many boys, this left me feeling completely alone, miserable, and unwanted. That I was starting to feel very disconnected and in a lot of pain and isolation. And, at this time in my life, school wasn't an escape for me. I felt lonely, I felt powerless, and I felt like I had no control over myself or my life. And from there, at high school was pretty tough for me. Again, it can be for many young men, but I was angry, I was in pain, and again, I felt really, really alone until I found the sport of boxing. And this was a way for me to start to be seen, to be heard, and for me to find a way to unleash and let go of the pain and the anger that I found myself in. So, both physically and mentally, this massively supported me, and the success came pretty quickly. I was awarded for my aggression, I was awarded for my anger, and it was a great outlet for me to be able to show up differently. I had a coach who believed in me and used to put a lot of time into me, and very quickly I reached the national semi-finals of a competition, the national semi-finals, the ABAs, and for the first time, I felt like I had a sense of strength and a sense of identity in the world and a place of belonging, which is what we are all really searching for as men. And this is where, my pain started to find an element of purpose in finding something that I was stronger. But this is where things went wrong, man. This is when, when things started to go against me in life, that I really began to collapse. My internal structure did not hold up very strong. And in 2005, after boxing for a number of years and again reaching the semi-final of the Nationals, I got beat on a decision that for me I shouldn't have got beat on. And this time it really, really broke me. It led me within 3 to 5 months of that event happening. I was drinking, I was partying, I was taking drugs. I moved to Magaluf. I split up with my partner Carly, thinking that I would find happiness and fulfillment by just moving away and running away from my problems. Well, this couldn't be any further from the truth, because I literally, while I was away, hit rock bottom. After a couple of months away, I returned home, and no word of a lie, I was ready to end my life. I didn't know which way to turn. I was in a world of pain and I needed a way out. So, looking at this part of my life, if I was to have known the exact method that I use today with men, the universal roadmap and map to mastery, a method that can help any man regardless of their pain, their problems or their backgrounds, imagine what would have happened in my life had I been able to implement the internal structures to navigate out of the problems that I was facing. So let's take a look. So looking at where, my life was at that time, looking at these 4 pillars, at the age of 17, 18, we're looking at power and action. My actions at that age were, unless I was boxing, if you like, they were aligned. When I was boxing, I wanted to be a boxer. As soon as something went against me, my actions completely changed. I hit the self-destruct button. I ran away from my problems, and my actions led me down a very dark and slippery slope at that time in my life. If I was able to correct them actions, imagine what would have happened if I had maybe had the internal structures, maybe had the father figure around me or the male role model to keep me in line and to keep me, navigating towards that which would have helped me and saved me in life. I would have saved myself a world of pain and a whole lot of time. Now we'll look at pillar 2, awareness and thinking. My mindset going into the boxing world, my mindset when I got beat, my mindset when things went against me. I didn't have the resilience to be a champion. I didn't have the resilience on the mindset to be able to stay positive when adversity was facing me and when I was becoming crushed by life. I didn't have the mindset or the confidence to go on and reach my dreams and be an elite level boxer because I didn't believe in myself. I didn't have the confidence. I didn't know how to. I was in a world of pain through what had been going on in my childhood and how I had perceived my upbringing. So my mindset was never in a very strong place at this time in my life. Had I had the right belief, I have no doubt that I would have been able to go to a much higher level, whether that was in sport or whatever area of life I decided to put my energy and effort into. So as you can see, this pillar would have been a massive pillar of having strength, mental fitness and resilience in my life. Couple this in now with the feeling of compassion, with actually feeling good enough as a man, with actually having a heart that was blown wide open, of having self-love, of having self-care, of being able to validate myself rather than needing to seek for it in the external world. So many of us do. We need someone to tell us how good we are. We need someone to give us this love. But self-love starts with you. And if we can't love ourselves, then how can we expect the world or anybody else to respect us or love us in the way that we need if we don't even know how that would feel for us? Taking it now on to the final pillar, which is transformation and being. If this pillar was online, this is the pillar of inspiration, of purpose, of mission, of legacy. So you could say at that time in my life, my purpose was to be a boxer, but I didn't have the internal structures to be able to make that to happen. And I didn't know how to channel my energies in a way to bring my thinking, my feeling, and my power online. So this led me to not understanding my purpose, being a man who was lost and being a man who didn't know his way in the world. I had no vision. I didn't know the next step I was going to take. So as you can see, this put me in a world of pain. Now, let's look at how this would have helped one of my brothers, Carl, who's in Men's Inner Mastery Academy, who went from being a man who's struggling with chronic stress and overthinking, which many of us do, battling with health issues and being hospitalised, having his own successful business, but feeling like something was missing. How many of us feel like something is missing in our lives, man, that we're always trying to fill this never-ending void, thinking the next thing is going to be it, but it never turns out to be it. We keep searching and we still feel empty. And this leads us to losing confidence and losing self-worth because we never feel good enough and we never feel like we're arriving at the place that we want to arrive. So implementing the Matter Mastery process in Carl's life, looking at what he had to do, we had to take Carl's life and we had to look at, being how we could get him to be completely in control of himself in his life. And for that to happen, man, we need to have a crystal clear vision and purpose and vision of where we're moving towards. No matter what's happened in the past, we need to create that vision for what the next step in our journey is going to look like. This helps us to get rid of the sabotaging behaviors that are causing us stress and worry. Because when we are sabotaging our life, it means we are not aligned with what we want to do, that we then indulge in unhealthy vices, and we then start to live with lots of stress. If we're not needing to escape a life of stress, we're not going to indulge in unhealthy or sabotaging behaviors. So it comes with knowing yourself and knowing what you're aligned with and taking the necessary steps to make that happen. Then we work with the 4 pillars. We look at being physically, mentally, and emotionally stronger than ever. Imagine what can happen in your life when we get these pillars even higher, just like we did with Carl, who, in his words, he's in the best place he's been in years. This is possible by just implementing some simple strategies in your life and getting these foundational pillars online and firing on all cylinders, man. So you have 3 options, and what most men do, okay, is number 1, they don't do anything. Many men are sleepwalking their way through life. We don't deal with our problems until we're in a world of pain and until we know we have to move and need to make the change. So we could say, the relationship might be failing. Is that what we're going to wait for? Or, are we going to stay in a job that we dislike for that much of a long time that drives us into a serious masculine and mental health crisis? Okay, so doing it yourself, is this really an option? Well, this is what many men will choose, but many men, 95% of men, will live an unlived life and will sleepwalk their way through life, expecting something to change, but nothing will. The next one that many men opt for is trying to do it ourselves. We go down the lone wolf route. We have this lone wolf mentality of dealing with our pain on our own, dealing with our emotions on our own, and also dealing with our success on our own, that we try to rise to the top by doing everything, you guessed it, on your own. Well, guess what? Creating the right environment, being around the right group of men allows you to thrive. There's a saying that is said a lot, put yourself in a room of millionaires. Guess what you're going to become? By adopting the mindset, the habits and the behaviors of the men, yeah, you're going to become a millionaire. So the next step for me would be getting expert guidance, being around a brotherhood, a tribe of men that can help take your life to the next level, being around men who have been where you have been right now, who have lived your journey, who can tell you how to miss the necessary pitfalls and fall downs that can, present themselves on this self-development journey and journey to self-mastery as a man. So my mission, it's a new way for the modern man. It's about helping you to live an inspired life, free from the shadows of the past and driven by a vision and purpose bigger than yourself. We embrace purpose and fulfillment, no longer chasing distractions, but building a life of meaning and mastery. And we do this by cultivating some simple and powerful masculine virtues: strength, integrity, discipline, and emotional mastery in your life. Leading ourselves, our families, our communities, our businesses, and becoming the man we know we want to be. This is no longer an obligation, man. This is a necessity that we must step up and be the man that we want to be, because this is a new way for the modern man. The modern man is in a crisis. Masculinity is in a crisis. We don't have a masculinity mental health crisis. We have a masculinity purpose crisis that is driving men further and further into oblivion. So my mission is to create a massive movement of men who are all rising together and rewriting the story of masculinity. I'm not here to lead men. I'm here to help men to lead themselves. And that's exactly what I do. So this is more than just a journey. It's a call to every man to step into their power. So what I would say, man, are you ready? If you are ready, then let's jump on a call and create your own unique battle plan and strategy plan to get things moving and to get things taken care of for any issues you might be facing right now in your life. If you're ready to make them changes and you're ready to do something about your life and to go all in on you, man, let's jump on a 15-minute coffee chat call where we can have a conversation and I can show you an exercise to get this dealt with immediately. If you're ready, click the link below in the captions and we will jump on a chat and we will make this happen and get it taken care of. See you soon. Have an amazing